G'day guys, welcome to the budget bike build Virago 250. I think this is episode 17. We've gone a little bit bloody further, so I'll give you a look around. Rightio, so from last week, these mount bloody things have all been painted and fitted onto here. They've come up pretty bloody good. Obviously I've got the hand grips, the throttle, all that's on there. I haven't put the fluid in there for the brake fluid, but it's all connected, ready to go. I'll obviously when I do that, we'll get the front wheel bloody braking all tuned up, as well as the back. So yeah, all the clutch stuff is all in, all bloody working really good. Obviously I won't fully know until I ride it, make sure it's all, but it should be pretty sweet. Now this stuff in here, all that's just sitting there. That was just so that I can bloody see the look of it. But I've still got to connect all the wires. In actual fact, I think I can, yeah, because I've got all the controllers on now. So I should be able to, yeah, finalise all, yeah, so I can do that. That's something I can do. I think that's about it from here. So I'll take you over to the workshop and have a look in there. Rightio, so over here, now first, I still haven't gone and bought the wrap to wrap that. Just been a slack bugger. Now I've pulled all this, so you remember this had the blinkers and the tail light and all that kind of stuff, so that is all up there. So this is kind of like some of the parts that we're just not obviously using. So they're up there. The inside guard thing, this is bloody big, heavy whatever bloody thing, that's been taken out. So what I've done is I've just started to do a bit of sandblasting on this to get rid of the rusty stuff in there. I'm not sandblasting this side because this side's all in good nick. I'll start to sand that. Same with the tank, I've sandblasted the inside. Obviously I've got more scrubbing to do in there. It was really hard getting these parts in that sandblaster. And same with this, sandblasted the metal parts. Now this guard is actually plastic. So you've got metal, plastic, which brings me to these pieces here. So the two side panels, covers are plastic, and the same with the front sprocket thing. This is plastic as well. So what I'm doing, these have all been sanded back. They look pretty shit, but they'll come up really good. So because they're plastic, because these things are plastic, and I've been using the Metal Shield satin black spray paint for all the bike, that's not a very good paint to stick directly to plastic. So what I've done is we've gone and got just a primer, and this is Rust-Oleum, and it also bonds to plastic. So I'm going to spray these covers with this stuff, same as the that front fender. We'll get a coat of that, and then I'll put that metal shield stuff over the top of that. So we're going to get a good bond. That's the whole point. So I've got to use the wax and grease remover, clean all, give these a final clean up ready, and we'll start spraying that. So as I said, that one's plastic, so that's got to get primed as well. But the metal ones, I just got to sand them back, and then I can spray directly with that Metal Shield epoxy stuff. So there you go, guys. That's what I'm up to at the moment. Now we did have an issue. Back over to the man cave. So when I put the chain on this bike, and I started moving it around, I started getting a clicking noise. Now this morning I just tried to move it, and I can't get it to click now, so I don't know whether the lube's just kind of like freed it up a little bit. But what I've done is I've bought a new chain. So, and look at that, it's a gold chain. So you know how we got the gold caliper, which also matches the gold bloody little doodad here, and then it'll actually match the gold chain. Now who knows how long it'll stay looking gold, but that might be a pretty good accent for it. So yeah, I thought it was smarter to obviously that chain, I thought it was okay. When I heard that clicking, and I thought, right, it was only like going around, it was only in one spot. When it would hit on the back sprocket, it would just do this click noise, which means that there's a linkage that isn't, it's obviously knackered. So I thought, bugger it. So I bought that for, I think it was 70 bucks it was. It was 70 bucks off eBay. It's a 520 chain. So I'll be replacing that chain. That's a pretty important part of the bike to make sure is like, you know, like the brakes. So there you go. We'll actually go and have a look at our running tally on the board back over into the workshop. Rightio guys, so including that chain that I just bought, we are now up to $1,990.76, and remember that is everything, including the cost of the bike. So I still have to get mirrors, which may be only, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks or something like that to add on to there. Of course, we've got the big ticket item, which is the roadworthy and rego, which is going to be most probably about 150 plus 600 and something dollars to add on top of that. So obviously, for me, I'm going to lose money on this bloody thing, but forgetting this whole the crew buying thing that I'm doing, I think having a bike that's going to cost me, essentially it's going to cost $2,000 in total, and you've got yourself a custom bike. And then obviously add on your roadworthy and registration, which normally when you're buying a bike you don't get that included in it. I think we're doing all right as a budget bike build. So what else have we got? So like I said, we have mirrors still to get. I've got to do a. I'm going to get a spare key made up. I've got to look at how to, some way of getting a manual, I think would be good. Now the seat bolts, and the exhaust baffle, I've got to do that as well. The seat bolts, obviously I've got to get seat bolts, but I can't do the seat, place the seat until I get all these panels on the bike. Basically working out how we're going to do that bracket system and what height and level. I can't do that until all those parts are on, because I've got to be able to see where it's sitting, what looks the best and feels the best, obviously. All right, I'm shutting up. Let's get into some painting. Now I know I said we were going to start painting, but I thought it'd be silly. I might as well get this last plastic piece done and do all the plastic pieces at the same time. So all I'm doing is just making sure anywhere that there is shiny stuff, it's got to be that matte colour. Now you'll see around the edges there, hopefully you can see that, that's shiny. So all that shiny stuff has to go away. So that you start to see how I'm starting to get rid of it. So I've got to make sure that everywhere on the plastic there's no shiny bits, and then it's all nice and smooth. Rightio guys, so this is Rust-Oleum primer, bonds to plastic as I said before. So shake this for a minute, just going to spray a few light things. I think I should only have to put one coat of this on, but I'm going to have to wait 24 hours for it to fully dry before I can put a second layer, and I might even wait another day after that. it fully bonds after 5 to 7 days. So that means if you were spraying on it, and then you're like, if you're doing outdoor plastic chairs like I've done, you know, after a week, then you can use them, sit on them and move them around and all that kind of stuff. Before that, you may get chipping. So let's get into painting. So I'm making sure I'm just getting under that lip. I'm not worrying about painting underneath it because it's black and it's the underside. So there we go, guys. So that should give a good bond to that plastic, and then when I spray the top coat on, it should get a good bond to this stuff. Now remember, guys, I'm not a spray painter by trade or anything, or an expert, or even very knowledgeable about it. Just using the instructions, things that I've read, gut feelings, that's what I'm doing. Rightio, guys, so it's only been about, I don't know, 5 minutes, so these seem to be setting off really well. And look, obviously being out in an environment like this, we're going to get like, oh, I can't even see, I've noticed there's a couple, you start to get little bits of bloody stuff sitting on there, and of course when you look really close you kind of like see them, but they'll just wipe off when I get to do the top coat. But this thing, you wouldn't even know it was all scuffed up. So I'm happy with that. I reckon I've got, oh there you go, you can see, yeah, little bits of bloody stuff. That stuff will just, that stuff will just wipe off before I do the next coat. Rightio, so I could start doing some more sanding, but that's just going to create dust over there. It's just going to come over here. Might go and do some electrical work. Rightio, guys, so I'm going to start having a shot at doing these electricals. Now you may remember me way back when I started to pull all this stuff apart. I was showing myself and you guys the electricals. So what I'm now doing is... Right where I go, I'm looking at these wires because I've got to disconnect some wires. And they're not all blue matching with blue and so forth. So I'm wanting to take a note. So blah, blah, blah. I'm using that as now a reference when I go to put all these back together. So that's the real importance of when you start to take something apart. If you're not sure, or you're not the type of person that can just take things apart and just reassemble them just because your brain works that way, you just go, that's the way it goes, dunk, dunk, dunk. I'm not that way. I'll take something apart, I'll remember how it goes. 5 minutes later, I go, shit, you know what? I can't remember the way that bloody well goes. So I've learnt over the years of doing bloody tinkering around, is either with the video camera it makes it even easier because I kind of like can go, this goes that way, blah blah blah, or use a camera, take photos. Even when I do this and trying to find footage or photos that I've taken of a particular spot, and it was in regards to the way that these wires and stuff fed through all here. Do you think I could find a bloody photo that really just showed it straight up? Was me and Nay were doing a lot of mucking around just to be able to figure out, oh, that's that wire, that went through there, blah, blah, blah. So that's why it's really important. If you're like me, take photos, videos before you take it apart and as you take things apart. So I'm shutting up, let's get in. I'm going to make a start on this and then we'll hopefully have a look. Rightio, so it should be a simple matter of swiggling that out. Now I do have that plugged in, but I'm going to take that off just so I can move that out of the equation. And so I have stuff coming through the top part of that hole there, and then there's a bottom hole there. So what I'm first going to do is make sure, and I think I've got it right anyway, but now I'm just going to start looking for the wires onto the screen down there and just start plugging them all back together. Cool. I'll come back to you. Rightio, guys, are you ready? I reckon I've got all these wires done. Now some of them are a little bit loose, which are these new wires. They're just loosely, because I don't want to crimp anything until I know for sure that they're right. So I've connected up the battery terminals. Now obviously the rear end, which is blinkers, tail light, bloody, you know, all that kind of stuff, is not hooked up, but I think, let's see, so I'm going to turn that key and let's just watch. Are you ready? Here we go. And oh, which way? That way. Cool. All right, so we're in neutral, which we are, so that's a good thing. We have a light on there, so that's a good thing. I wonder if we do high beam. There you go, that's working. What about horn? Well, that's not very good. That's not very loud at all. I wonder what the hell's going on with that thing. I don't think you can. I think with a horn you can put it both ways. It doesn't really matter. I'll swap them over in a minute. Otherwise, I've bought a bloody dodgy horn. Rightio. So now, so all that works. Now, what about the blinkers? Left blinker. Right blinker. What? Oh, look at that. So I've buggered that up. Cool. And you can see, yeah, so I've got wires around the wrong way. Excellent. So I nearly got it right, so I'm off in a little bit. All right, I'll sort that out. Rightio, guys, we nutted it out. So the blinkers have two wires, a solid black and a black with a white. I was thinking the black went with the black, but it's the other way around. So I've rewired those. Now, turn her on. Oh yes, in neutral, high beam, no problem. Right turning signal, well let's call that one left. Right turning signal, cool. The horn is still crap. What did Matt say? Because Matt's here. Hazards, that's it. Oh, it's hazards. Oh, that's the runoff. Where are you, Mark? Hazards. There you go. So hazards are running.
Yep, and your headlight's doing the same.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is that? Oh.
I think that might just be a fluctuation in the power.
Power, yeah, that's it.
Because it's not running.
Yeah, and of course these are working now. I did note though, hazards off. When I do the high beam, that high beam light's not coming on there. I can't remember whether that did or not now. When we first got it. So far we're looking good. So now all I've got to do is I'll do another recess, and then once I'm happy I'll tighten up all those connections and clean them all up, and she should be right to go. Rightio guys, so I thought I'd try and get this horn to be louder, and it just stopped working, and then it started working, and then it wasn't working, and then it just totally stopped working. We couldn't even get it to work off this. So what I've done is we've got this. I checked this on the CB250. It worked. It's really loud. I put it onto little Lucifer, and it wasn't loud, and I thought, oh no, we've got some gremlin. But then we thought, okay, maybe it's the battery, so we chucked the Yankee thing onto the battery, and hey presto, the light was super bright and this was super loud. Cool. So I've cleaned up the chrome. I'm just going to whack that on now. And when we get to the CB250, we'll worry about a horn for it, and we will not get a cheap Chinese one off eBay. I'll pay some real dollars for one. Rightio guys, so it's always the things that you think is going to be a simple job. Put the horn on, done, no worries. Alright, so what we've done is we've got the one off the CB250. I've just, of course I couldn't just hook it on because the prongs are in the wrong spot and the wires are over there, so I had to cut the wires, get extra wires, fiddle around, stuff ass around. So I've put them all together, I've hooked it on, and now, of course I've got to put that back on there, so turn that on, and hey presto, what do you reckon, Matt?
Still loud.
So the horn works. So I've joined I put new wires, or extended the wires joined them, heat shrunk the bloody thing over. Now I'm going to get some electrical tape, wire it all up, and then she'll be all sweet. All tucked away, nice. Cool. Rightio, guys. What the hell? It's 10 o'clock at night now. I got all that wiring finally done, and I had the. Did I tell you I put that horn? I don't even know what the hell the last thing I told you, but I got the horn. I pinched the horn off the CB. I think I freaking said this. I had to lengthen the wires, and yeah, I think I've already said that. All right, so now I've managed to get this new chain on. That was a bloody stuff arsing around type shit. You know, of course, the bloody chain's not perfect, and you have too many links, so you have to bust them out and all that kind of shit, and then you've got to bust them back in. So I got all that done. This might end up being a bloody key ring. Just don't use it on your motorcycle, it'll scratch it. So that is now on, all done, all tensioned up. Now, I don't know if anybody remembers, and I was saying, oh, it's a stupid bloody setup the way they do that, and I couldn't tell, you know, how they didn't have marks on there. The reason why there was no marks on there was because that other chain was so stretched, and when I laid the two together, you could tell that chain was really stretched. Now I can see, I'll show you. Oh, so there's a close-up of the bloody chain there, running through. So yeah, there is our marks. See, when I had the other chain on, this was all the way back here. So even, but now that I've looked, that has marks on that side and marks on that side, but I don't know, it must have been so far back past it all, but yeah, so now I can check on either side. Most of you guys know what I'm talking about. So it's not as silly as I first thought it was. There is a system, I just couldn't bloody see it, as per usual. Alright, so that's just another bloody job done. I've got this battery on the charger that'll get left on the charger overnight. And hopefully that'll, because it was getting low. I mean, it's obviously been sitting here for what, 3 months, I suppose, and then dicking around with lights and bloody all that kind of stuff. So because before that it was fine, there was no problem with the battery, it was bloody actually really good. So hopefully I'll just get that charged up, and hopefully that'll hold the charge and we won't have a problem with that. Alright, cool. So I got those parts which you saw being spray painted, so they're going to dry overnight. They're already dry now, but and I'm continuing to now start rubbing back all that other stuff. Just continue doing that. It's just a long, laborious bloody job. All for the greater good. Alright, see you further on. Rightio guys, so I have finally gone and got myself some exhaust wrap. I'll show you down here. So what I've done is I've just mounted the exhaust in the vise. Obviously got bloody rags to protect it. So that's in there. It's going to make it a whole lot easier when doing this. So that's the exhaust wrap, and got some hose clamps. I much prefer to use these type of clamps instead of those other ones that they bloody have. Fiddly little bloody stupid things they are. So obviously I've just wet this. This is how I did the wrapping on Tommy, the postie bike, the Mad Max bike. Hopefully I'll do a whole lot better job. Obviously that was a bit of really tiny bloody pipes, and then into the big ones and all that kind of shit. So let's get stuck into it. Rightio. Geez, looking at it, I don't think it doesn't look like it's going to be long enough, but I think we might be right. So I want one. The object when doing exhaust wrap is to take your time. Don't be in a rush to get it done. The tighter you can get it, the better. And obviously wetting it helps tremendously. So I get nearly a full wrap around that. I'll do one more before I put that clamp on. Now you can do, I think they say quarter wraps or half wraps, as in the overlap. I just wrap it around. I'm not going to really try and make it Alright, so now I've got to get this around. So I fully undid that. Now I've got to try and do this up. Obviously this part here I'll have facing to the back, so you won't really see that. To the back and to the bottom, I suppose, would be the best spot. Alright, oh Jesus. So this is the front looking down, so this has got to go fair way around. I think about to there. See? Alright, that is clamped down. Brilliant. Alright. Now I'll stop this from curling around. Alright, so now slow and steady wins the race, I believe. That's the other thing, guys. Whether you start from the header and work your way back this way, or whether you work from the tail end and then work back to the header. In the instructions they show, they don't say to do it, but they point to which way the header is, and the way they're wrapping is coming from the header backwards. People argue this, and the reason why they argue it is that doing it this way, as you're riding along, the wind's coming this way. So as you can see, I don't know, you might not be able to see it, but that means it flows over the wrap. If this does get a bit loose or whatever, you could have it, if it was going the other way, the wind would be hitting it. But I really don't think that it would do too much. But I'm just going to give it a go. It sounds pretty plausible, the whole wind grabbing it. Alright guys, so I'll show you the wrap. So I've nearly gone 50-50 with the wrapping, and what's happened is I didn't make it all the way to the end. So I've got to unwind it all and then redo it so that I'll get that more length out of it. Rightio guys, so short again. Bloody hell. Alright, I'm just going to turn this camera off and redo it. Stop bloody, you've seen how I'm doing it, so there you go. Cool. Rightio guys, I couldn't get this covered. So this wrap was 10 feet long, and I just couldn't get it to go all the way to the end. So, and if I did, I just would have been, they would have started, you would, yeah, just wouldn't work. It would have been shonky. So I've used this 10-footer to cover this one here, which is our fake one, obviously. So this is actually cosmetic. Really, I mean, all of it's cosmetic. I mean, people do it to get a little bit more horsepower, but I mean, what you get out of it is just non-existent, really. Whoop, I might have started a bloody comment wall there, but anyway. So, all right, I've got to go buy some more of this exhaust wrap, and I'll have to get at least 15 feet. All right, I'll be back. Rightio guys, so I've been out and got the extra bloody wrap now. So I went to Super Cheap, got a 10-foot wrap, which now we know wasn't enough to do that main pipe, but I've managed to do the small pipe. I went into Super Cheap down into town because they didn't have any bigger ones here in Kangaroo Flat. Went into Bendigo, they didn't bloody have any either. They only had the 10-foot one. So then I went over to Autobahn, which is just another auto bloody shop. They had a really good range. If you're a moderate, people, it doesn't matter. They had a 25 foot, so $60 for 25 feet, $34 for the 10 foot. So if I had got the 25 foot, I would have had, I've cut 15 foot off, which is going to be enough for the main one. Then I would have had 10 feet left over to do that small one. Would have only cost $60 to do that. But now it's cost me bloody $94.68 to do this job. I now have 10 feet for something other bloody job. There you go. Cool. So if you're doing a Virago, get the 25 feet of wrap. That'll do your main pipe and the fake pipe. Cool. Rightio guys, so here is the finished job. I don't think we can judge it until it's actually on the bike, but the wraps came out really well. I'm happy with them. They'll bloody sit on there, no worries at all. The only thing I'll most probably do is I'll trim these little tabby bits off. Once it's on the bike, then I can adjust these to hide those bits. So my next job is to fix this loose baffle in there. It just rattles around in there, so I've got to weld that up. But that is for next week, because today is actually Thursday. I don't even know what time it is. It's in the afternoon, so I've got to get this bloody footage edited as per usual, rendered, uploaded to YouTube for 6 o'clock tonight. Alright, so dare I say it, next week hopefully it's going to be pretty much all back to bloody together. It'll be mainly the finer parts maybe of, I don't know, shut up. Alright guys, keep on riding, and if you ain't riding, just keep on bloody keeping on.